Cody, why did you choose to be part of the Hoel Roofing family?
Well, Hoel Roofing did a lot of great things for two of my closest friends, and since day one, you guys were a very welcoming family environment. As someone who is a family man, that meant a lot to me. And then overall, I just really enjoy how well you guys take care of your customers.
Welcome to this edition of the Hoel Truth Podcast as we continue our series on the sales team. Guest today is Mr. Cody Stephens. So, Cody, take a minute, introduce yourself, tell us about your lovely family, and we'll kind of kick it off with that.
Well, I am, my name's Cody. I'm 28 years old. I have a wife, her name's Marissa, and then two kids, a 7-year-old son, Joey, and then a almost 1-year-old daughter, Eliza.
Grew up kind of a little bit growing up. I know you're in Florida a little bit, Shelbyville, whatnot.
Yep, kind of back and forth. My dad lived in Indiana. My mom lived in Florida. So I spent some time in high school here in Shelbyville, Indiana, and then actually graduated from Rockledge, Florida.
Okay.
So, and
awesome.
Then kind of made my way back.
So kind of pretty cool with Chris, sales manager, is a good friend of yours for most of your life now, I guess, probably technically.
Yeah.
Nick, a salesman over here, kind of same thing. So just kind of talk about how you got here. I think you've been with us, 3.5 years?
Actually, I think this year is my 4th year now.
Yeah. Technically coming this fall, I think it'll be close to 4. Yes, sir.
So kind of how I got my start, I started out when I moved back here from Florida, started out as a factory in Morristown, kind of doing everything, operating machines, then kind of moved into maintenance. Funny enough, I actually got Chris a job over there. I was over there for about 5 years, and he was over there for several. And then Nick started working with you guys and got Chris the job. And then after Chris started working here, he's pretty much told me, like, hey, like, this job changed my life. You really need to consider doing it. And I know that he had talked to me about trying to come work for you guys for probably half a year, but I was a little nervous about switching over. I'd just gotten married, and then, wasn't really, brave enough to make the jump from salary to commission. And then,
come on, Cody, tell the whole story, bud. Like that. I'll tell it from the way you tell it. So, Cody comes and works for us, and I said, what made you do it? And he said, well, friends with Nick and Chris, okay. Nick did it. He had success, but Nick is smart. Like, he's in college. His parents are attorneys. He's smart. So he's like, he could figure it out. Like, well, when Chris did it and Chris started having success, you pretty much said Chris was pretty dumb. So you figured if Chris could do it, Cody could do it. So
yeah, somewhere along those lines. And then finally, he kept trying to get me to talk to you, and then he had his diaper party for his first son, and I saw you guys there, and that's when I first kind of started to open the door for conversation about switching over. And then, for a little while I worked both jobs because I was just real nervous about switching to commission. And that was killing me. And then by the time spring rolled around the next year, I just finally decided, okay, hey, I need to switch, and it was probably the greatest decision I've ever made.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, it's always scary, and the best part is with the team is getting to know everybody's personality. And I always remember, like, we were talking, and I always want you guys to do what's best for your family, and it made sense. You kind of came in the fall, and it can get thin, it can get skinny in the winter for sales guys in this business, especially if you don't even start your pipeline until October, but I'll never forget when you were like, okay, when I get these 2 deals, closed. I'm going to quit. And then literally they closed the same morning, I believe. And you're like driving to work. I was like, so we giving our resignation letter today, Cody? And you like, well, I don't know about today. And I was like, come on, Cody. You said, let's go, buddy. You know, so, and like I said, like I think it's a healthy, I mean, I want you to be smart, but there is a level of like, I don't want to say a healthy fear, but like when you know you've got to go provide, you know, and that's one reason why I've been very fortunate to have guys in your generation. I mean, the bulk of our team is your age group, you know, and people want to complain that there's every generation or every age group, they're lazy and you can't find good people. Like I'm very fortunate. And I think our secret sauce is finding guys that are married with kids because you come home. I mean, you got 2 kids, like you want to provide for them. You want to be able to, you know, give them things that you didn't have. So, I mean, it's a good motivator, you know? So, and we think the world of Marissa, you know, I like giving Marissa a hard time, and you know, little Joey, I may be worried that he's going to hit on my daughters here in a couple of years with the little player that he likes to be.
Maybe so,
but you know, I love his energy too, and just, you know, being around him, and you know, I kind of like to talk about maybe challenges that we've had, and you know, and I know you'll never tell Joey that he's your stepson, but kind of talk a little bit about that, because I think it's good for people to kind of hear stories and understand like where people come from, and like, you know, maybe some challenges that you guys have had to overcome there.
Well, say a couple years ago, his biological dad passed away, so that was a pretty big challenge for us. I was around in the picture long before that, but that was a major challenge that we had. And then me and Marissa personally could not have children, so we had to go through IVF, so that was a pretty big challenge. But you guys were very supportive all along the entire way. I'm very fortunate that I had this job as well, because, you know, anyone who's ever gone through that understands how expensive that can be. After about 2 years of going through the entire process, we did have success. But being fortunate enough to have this job, we came out of it pretty much debt free. Every treatment, every, operation that we gone through, we pretty much paid it outright, which, if I was at the factory, probably would not have been possible. We, may not even be sitting here talking about my daughter today if that was the case. So,
and, for me, I've always respected you because you've never said like Joey as that's my stepson, like Joey, that's my son. And even before, unfortunately, him losing his dad, so as a guy from a blended family, like I admire that when Ellie does a great job with her blended family of just loving the kids. I mean, they're kids. They need love at the end of the day, Don't need to worry about who gets credit for dad, just truly need somebody there to love his mom, and love him. So, that's kudos for that, so, yeah, and I mean, that journey was a lot of prayers, a lot of asking for updates, a lot of not being real nosy because that was a process. And, and I know that's a very emotional and, trying thing on a marriage. And, thankfully Nick and Chris made light of some of it. So, we could laugh about it a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, it's a journey, and that's what life is. Like, life is just living life with people and encouraging them. And, some days we're celebrating births. Yes, that's awesome. But you're also putting into prayers and no pun intended, Cody, the work before that baby,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But, so one question I asked Chris when we did this was like, what makes this different? Because I'll say this out loud. There's 150 roofing companies in our listening area, and I've always said this, I've always been humbled with the amount of talent that come here and work. I'm not naive. You could go sell roofs somewhere else. Like, don't want you to. I'm just saying it out loud, you know. So what do you truly feel like, you know, our secret sauce is, or even your secret sauce?
Well, you know, I guess, for me, the first thing I noticed being here, you know, I never actually worked for another roofing company. But just really in comparison to really any job that you can have, you know, all the jobs I've worked at in the past, you're basically treated as like a number, you know, especially at a factory. You know, there's probably 100 people in there that don't know your name. They don't really care about you. They just want to know if you're going to show up and punch in at 5 o'clock. Here, as far as the work environment, definitely feels like a family. People care about you. You know, we're a team. People help each other out. And then as far as, you know, what we do for our customers, you know, just kind of not trying to talk bad about other companies, but, you know, stories I've heard along the lines from customers, past experiences. You know, there is a lot of contractors out there that are shady, don't care. You know, they may come out, do the work, and then as soon as they have a problem, they don't answer that call. So one thing I do love about this company is I can trust that, you know, at the end of the day, we're always going to make our customers happy. We truly care about customers being, you know, satisfied with the end result and taking care of people, you know. So that's a big thing that I think sets us aside from most other companies, you know, that it's, you know, when it comes to dealing with the customer, it's more than just the money, you know, it's about making someone happy, you know.
Well, and I mean, it's nice because we've got a sales team that goes above and beyond. We got a production team that goes above and beyond. So it's truly a joint venture. Is it, you know, Ellie answering an email on a Sunday afternoon? I mean, we literally had an email on this Sunday, and it was customers like concerns here, and some of them were valid, some of them it had nothing to do with us. And by the time we got out there, we're out there the very next day. The guy's like, well, I already realized this part over here isn't your part, but if you can address these couple little small things, that would be great, you know. And that's cool to see, you know. And what is your favorite product to sell?
Favorite product, you know, I like selling metal, but I would say probably, you know, my favorite product would probably be Malarkey. You know, it's just an all around, you know, great product to sell for someone that's kind of, I guess you would say, more in the middle ground, you know, they don't want to put on the cheapest product. They care about their home. You know, they want their roof to last for a very long time, but maybe don't want to spend the money on metal. So, you know, I think Malarkey is a great product to sell for people who want a premium grade roof without spending the money on metal. You know, metal's great. But I think Malarkey's doing a lot of good things that set them aside from, you know, other competitors for shingles. So probably my favorite would be Malarkey, I'd say. And then second favorite would definitely be metal, you know, because it's hard, you know, not to talk about the pros of metal. I mean, that stuff can basically last you forever if you keep up with it, take care of it, you know. So really, I just like selling whatever the customer is looking for pretty much.
Malarkey's coming to Franklin too.
Yeah, I mean that is another nice thing, you know. One thing always good, easy selling point for Owens Corning is it's 30 minutes from the office, you know. But yeah, Malarkey's building a plant here in Indiana. Jared's been great as our Malarkey rep, and I want to laugh because he's probably going to come in here and take some sound bites out of this because you said Malarkey and if they love their house or something like that. And it's always funny because Jared used to tell me if you care about your if you love your customer's house, you'll only put Malarkey on there. So just the way you said that and stuff, Jared said. So we don't want to give him too much credit. His head gets pretty big, but he's genuinely a phenomenal sales rep to help us out on a lot of different things, you know, when it comes to that. And you know, Malarkey's a great product. I chuckled because Chris talked about metal too. So when you first said metal, I was like, yep, we're going down the same rabbit hole here.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But,
well, I mean, you know, even in certain neighborhoods like HOAs, you can't put metal on. So that's another reason why Malarkey is a great product. Because if you want something that's going to be built to last, and maybe your HOA doesn't allow metal in your neighborhood, you know, Malarkey would be your next step to a premium roof that's going to last you a long time.
So you reside in Shelbyville. I mean, that's home. That's where you're going to raise your family. Right,
Yes,
you're
sir.
still in Shelbyville, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No, you guys were all talking about moving to Waldron there for 1 minute, and I thought, crap, if he moved to Waldron, and I just said he's still in Shelbyville, so
Yeah. No, we wanted to move to Waldron. We wanted a little bit of a smaller town feel. Unfortunately, with a place like Waldron, most people that live there are going to die there, so the houses don't go up for sale very often. So we kind of had to settle for staying in Shelbyville. But I think the plan is we're pretty much going to stay in this general area for good.
Awesome. Yeah. What are some hobbies?
Hobbies. So, MMA, I do a lot of that. I do Jiu-Jitsu. I'm currently a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu. That's something I'll probably continue on for the rest of my life. I'd like to get my kids into it. Just recently started getting into Muay Thai, which in other words is basically like kickboxing. And then, I picked up skateboarding again. Shortly after doing that, I sprained my ankle pretty bad. But now I'm getting back into it again because my son is real into it. So we're going to the skate park every weekend and just praying I don't get hurt again.
Yeah, the bad thing is you're getting older every day, Cody. You're not getting any younger, and sometimes. No, I didn't know you were doing kickboxing or whatever you call that. So
yeah,
blue belt. How many more belts is there to get, or how many belts have you gotten?
So this would only be my second belt. It took me about 2.5 years to get to it. All in all, to get to black belt, which would be your last belt, they normally say could take between 10 to 12 years. So, you start with your white belt, then you have 4 stripes per belt. So you get to black, and then so you get your blue belt, your purple belt, your brown belt, and then onto your black belt. And then there's different degrees to the black belt, but those take much longer to get than just your average belt or average stripe.
So what is where's Nick and Chris at on their belts?
So Nick and Chris are currently white belts.
Okay.
I don't know why Nick decided he was going to quit, but I think he took a break from it, and then I know Chris got injured pretty bad, so that's kind of why he took a break from that as well. So, and then once they quit, I kind of surpassed them. Luckily, I was fortunate enough not to get too injured, not to be able to train. Plan on sticking it out pretty much for the rest of my life.
Yeah, Chris got a pretty gnarly injury on his knee. I believe it was his knee. So
yeah, I believe it was his MCL. So that's pretty rough to come back from.
Hobbling around the office. I'm like, well, I'm glad you're a sales manager now, not a sales guy. So you're not going to be climbing too many roofs when you're hobbling around like that. But so, what are some goals in life? Some things that you and Marissa are striving for.
Number one goal, number one priority is just, working hard and, not to make it just about money, but make enough money to provide for my family and give them a life that I wasn't able to have. I don't want to have to say no to my kids. Is kind of the goal. I just want to make sure they have a good, comfortable life. Anytime they need anything, I want to be able to be there to help them. Obviously I have my goals in, jiu-jitsu, weightlifting, things like that. But overall family goals, provide a good life for my kids. I'd like to pay my house off and kind of, be completely debt-free, not have anything to worry about. I'd like to retire in my 50s, so that's the goal. Right now, kind of hunkering down, doing a lot of investing and trying to set up for the future, because, I'd like to get to a point where I don't have to work the rest of my life, and be able to settle down with my wife and travel. We love traveling. We go somewhere new every year, so that's something that's very important to us. I think those are pretty much my main goals as far as family goes.
So where are you going this year? And tell the last couple of years places you've been, because I think it's always cool when you're like, hey, boss, we're running out to go here, so.
Yeah. So this year we're going to go to Oregon. Last year, actually the last 2 years, we went to Washington State. And then the year prior to that, we went to New Orleans, and then, occasionally we'll go on like a beach vacation with my in-laws.
What are you looking forward to in Oregon?
Hiking, pretty much exploring. We like to do a lot of outdoor activities, hiking, mainly just hiking, and then just kind of seeing the world, really. We got some other places where we'd like to set goals to go to. I know that my wife is looking forward to trying to plan a trip to go to Europe. So got a bunch of different places we want to go to. I just got to stay working hard and make the money, because my wife's got some places she wants to go that's not going to be very cheap.
Where she want to go in Europe?
She wants to go to Greece.
Okay.
I know that's kind of like on her bucket list.
Is there any certain things she's wanting to go to Greece? Because I'm not much of a traveler, so I know people talk about going to Europe all the time, and I couldn't tell you one place to go in Europe. So
yeah, I think for her, she just likes the landscape, thinks it's beautiful. She wants to go check it out. Me personally, there's a lot of like ancient ruins and things like that from Rome that I'm real into, that I'd like to see. History-wise, she'd probably tell me I'm boring for that. But that's really my interest in going there. But I think she just wants to go there because it's nice out there. So
awesome. No, that's that's what I try to preach to you guys. Like, yes, you work hard. You guys can make really good money, but like, live that life. Like, and like I said, your generation again. Like, I feel like you guys really enjoy traveling, and it's cool. Nick's been to some cool places, So yeah, to me that's what life's about. Like, you got to have them experiences with your wife. You just can't work 24/7, so yeah, absolutely. But yeah, as we wrap up, Cody, I thank you for now almost 4 years of service, but like I said, I love this family that we have here, where, we get together, we have a lot of fun. The kids get together, they play, and just, the family atmosphere that we have. And you help bring that. Like, I almost made a comment earlier talking about weightlifting, and the joke around the office is, who can lift more, Emily or Cody, and there was a group chat going around a while back, and I said something that Emily said. Emily loves picking on you, Cody. And like, it's some of the randomest times. Like, one day she's just smirking. I'm like, what? She goes, I just want bigger guns than Cody. And I was just like, where in the, this is like a Saturday afternoon, Cody. It ain't like you're just in her office chatting with her. And I put it in a group chat, and I remember a couple people responded and said, well, she already has bigger arms than Cody. I think she could beat Cody up, so.
Yeah.
But, that's what makes this fun. So thank you for your time today, and appreciate you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.